Hey everyone, this is Romy from Alpha Violin. Today we are diving into something super cool, the CAGED system on the violin. And I know, you may be wondering, what CAGED system? This is not a guitar lesson. But trust me, this is something totally relevant for us violinists too. The CAGED system is all about understanding the shapes you need to make major chords. Once you get the hang of it, your fingerboard starts to make a lot more sense. You will practically see patterns everywhere. Let's break it down. When I say CAGED, I mean C, A, G, E and D major chords like this. We are making these chords across 3 strings, either G, D, A strings, G, D, A, or D, A, E strings. For example, this is a D major chords on the bottom 3 strings. Now, there's a little difference between the guitar and the violin CAGED system. Guitarists use open chord shapes, but we violinists use closed ones. That means we don't use any open strings. Let's start with the C major chord shape. Okay, here we go. 3rd finger on the G string for C. 1st finger on the D string for E. And 2nd finger on the A string for C again. This is actually a slight variation of the 4-string C major chord, which you play G on top. But in this system, we'll skip the G and simply play C, E, C. Remember that pentatonic scale lesson? Hand shape was a big deal, right? Well, it's even more important here. It will help you tons. And one last thing, always keep track of which string and finger is playing the root note. For C major chord, it's a bit tricky because you play the root twice. But just think of the 3rd finger on the G string as the root. The A major chord is super useful because it's easy to play. Your 1st finger does need to bar 2 strings. So be careful with the tuning. It might be a little tricky to get the perfect 5th. But don't stress too much about it. Then your 2nd finger plays a whole tone higher. And in the A chord, it's C sharp. Next up, G major. You probably know this one already, right? But we are doing a closed chord, so no open strings. To find the G, we can use the 3rd finger on the D string. Then we would still need B and D note. We can try the 4th finger on the G string for D. And the 1st finger on the A string for B. But I imagine for some, that might be too much of a stretch for you. If it is, you can play this instead. 2nd finger on the 2nd finger on the G, and 3rd finger on the D string, and 1st finger on the A string. It's also G chord. So the 1st one is this, and 2nd, both are fine. The E major chord is one of my favorites. No stretching and it's easy to remember. The root is on the D string. 2nd finger plays E. And you bar the D and the A string with your 2nd finger. And add your 1st finger on the G string for G sharp. So practically you are in the half position, and this shape is great for moving around the neck. Finally, the D major chord. We talked about this one a bit already. It's easier than the first G shape. Play the root D on the A string with your third finger, F sharp with the second finger on the D string, and A with the first finger on the G. Alright, now we have all 5 shapes. Let's talk about how to use them. Knowing which finger plays the root note is super important. I'll take the A shape to explain this further. In the A shape, the first finger is the root. In the first position, that's of course an A major chord. If you keep the same shape and play it on the D, A, E strings, it's an E major chord. See how the first finger is playing E? That's your clue. The note your first finger plays is the chord name for A shape. You can move it up to third position and you're playing a C, let's say. Keep barring the G and the D strings with your first finger and add your second finger a whole tone higher. This is a C major chord in A shape. You can do this pretty much anywhere on the G and the D strings for A shape, but it gets harder to play in tune higher up. I'll stick to probably up to third position mostly. I personally don't recommend going any higher. All the other shapes work in a similar way. Just learn the shape and check which finger plays the root. For A shape, it's the first finger. E shape, it is the second finger. C shape, it's a third finger. G shape, again it's a third finger. And the D shape, it's a third finger again. And remember those intervals. Let's finish with a 1-5-4-5 chord progression in C major. That's C-G-F-G chord. But we just learned a bunch of ways to make chords, didn't we? So let's try a few things. We can play the basic shape we just learned like this. Or maybe we can play like this one. Or even like this. Alright, there you have it. This is the CAGED system on violin. Experiment, have fun, and let me know how it goes for you.